newspapers. What do we got? Miami-Dade Parks. The Love of Parks. Is that the song?
That's right. No, it's not. This is Love Me Do by the Beatles.
Oh, I thought it said Love the Parks. Is it really February, Love the Parks?
It is. Well, I say it's February. And for the love of parks, go outside, spend quality time outdoors safely. Miami-Dade Park also recognizes the American Heart Month. So let's make happy, healthy choices. Get out there, 30 minutes a day, increase your heart rate. And for the love of parks, stay healthy and make sure that you spend more time outside safely.
I just want you to know the weather's too good. I'm going to tell you what's happening.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's so perfect. These people from the north are coming in. We do not want you people coming. Stay. We're too crowded already. The weather in Miami-Dade County, South Florida, is just unbelievable. And I love that. Love, what is it called?
For the love of parks.
For the love of parks. And every park in Dade County, whether it's sports parks, recreation parks, parks for the
nature parks.
Yep. And they are packed everywhere. I'm getting calls from people watching the show. I got a call from Washington. Stoneman Douglas thing on Key Biscayne. What is it called? The Stoneman Douglas.
Oh, Nature Center.
Nature Center. They called me. They were jealous.
Oh, no, those are our great partners. Those
well,
are
they're coming next week.
Partners. Excellent.
I don't know who they are. They're too funny names, too fancy, but the point of it is the parks are busy and it's great. So you say 30 minutes outside every day?
At least, from taking a walk around the park, take your dogs out to a dog park, ride a bike. Hey, take a kayaking trip.
And I am Mr. Kayak now.
You are. You're a pro. Well, after daring and after venturing with EcoAdventures.
You still have to come hang out with me at the C100.
Yes. I'd love to do that. I would love to do the C100.
It'll be fun.
That I'll dress appropriately. I won't wear dress shoes. So, all right. So make sure we have on the screen what's going on with park life, right? We need to talk about that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Make sure you subscribe. Goodness. Subscribe
what
to
medicine
Park
are you
Life.
on, lady?
I know it. I'm just,
You're pumped up.
I am pumped up. It's February. I love parks. So make sure that you stay connected. Get that monthly subscription to Park Life to really see what's happening out at parks.
Okay, speaking about parks, Valentine's is coming up soon.
Love is in the air.
Love is in the air. That's the song we should be playing, Tommy. Who sings that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's old as
But you sounded pretty good. You really hit that good note.
So tell us what's happening Valentine's
So
weekend.
what's happening Valentine's? Great things happening for your loved ones. And you know what? This is a great opportunity to go out and enjoy a concert in the open air at the Deering Estate. How about Valentine's Day with intro to archery and kayak so you could fall in love with outdoor sports?
Is that just the archery is where?
So we have archery going on at A.D. Barnes Park and Bill Sadowski.
What a way to Valentine's practice shooting archery.
Right?
Listen,
the problem is I don't want to be on the target side.
You could practice being Cupid.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen.
The parks has something for everyone, and Valentine's Day.
Well, there's always a way to get out.
Exactly.
Kayak right up to 100.
That's right.
I'll see y'all later.
Wait a second.
I like the last one.
A box of chocolate covered raisin from Fruit and Spice Park.
Where is that located?
So that's out in the Homestead area. I do want to mention, you could either order the box of chocolates or you could dine in for their Valentine menu there at Fruit and Spice Park. So great things. So come plan your special Valentine's
all right, so
weekend.
you're taking you, your husband, and me. I'm the extra. It's 2 plus 1.
I want to be in this.
As long as you pay the bill at Mango Cafe.
I will go with them. If you're buying the strawberries.
No, I already said it first. We're heading out to Mango Cafe at Fruit and Spice Park for a great Valentine menu, or take a box of chocolate-covered strawberries. I'm excited.
I'm pumped up.
All right. So plan your special day with parks this whole weekend for Valentine's Day. Doesn't matter whether it's a Friday night, make it an extended weekend. And make sure you sign up for these great opportunities, especially the Deering concerts. You must sign up online through our park link.
Is there anything happening in North End? Any Valentine's in the North End of Dade County?
Not specific events, just because we are limited to these attraction areas
Right.
like Deering Estate. But of course, Valentine's Day is every day with Miami-Dade Parks.
Because
So
why?
pack a picnic,
Why?
get a picnic
Why?
table,
Why is every day a Valentine?
because we live a park life.
No,
And
we-
for the love of
the
parks,
That's it.
Right?
The love of parks.
What am I going to do?
What
I
are you
know.
gonna-
That's awesome.
it
Okay.
keeps me on my toes, but I got this.
All right. So we have a lot of things going on. We're not going to talk about snakes yet. We
Nope.
got Black History Month.
You're a history buff, so I wanted to make sure that you are aware of our Instagram. What's in the Park Name series happening at Miami-Dade Parks Instagram, which honors those individuals and connect our park patrons to history, Miami history, with these great pioneers during Black History Month. So I've got one for you. Gwen Cherry.
I think she was a former state rep. Am I correct?
She was a leader, a politician. She was a champion for the rights of children.
She was a state rep.
Women, people. Was she?
The first Black woman to participate, first Black female state legislator. Yes, born in Miami, Gwen Cherry Park.
You
That's
got
not
it.
a Dade County park, is it? It's a city, Miami.
It is.
It is.
It is. And you
you're
are.
out.
You love sports.
Gwen
They
Cherry
have
Bulls
the legacy field that was made possible
by the NFL.
by the NFL.
Gwen Cherry. You know the football team's called Gwen Cherry Bulls, but you knew that, of course.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now I did.
Absolutely. But she
Right.
she was a trendsetter. She made a lot. She plowed the way for a lot of people.
Well, she was born here in Miami, and Gwen Cherry Park was named in her honor in 2005. But more Black history facts about parks and these great pioneers in our Miami-Dade Parks. Follow us in our Instagram at Miami-Dade County Parks.
Wait. I hear cheers.
What's going on?
Oh, boy.
Michael Miller is coming on stage. Let's hear those cheers. Yay!
Mike, just in time to find out what EcoAdventures is doing.
And we have Denise over here. She wants to be in. She wants to see some of this neat stuff that's coming up.
And you know what? This is Parks connecting people to parks, even in the studio. Thanks, Grant. I appreciate you. But now we've got Mike as the expert for our animal encounters.
All right. I like it.
So let's talk about snakes. How is it that happen? A snake becomes a snake. What is that?
So snakes are pretty neat animals. I mean, when you talk about snakes, I mean, what's the first thing that comes to mind? An animal that's just slithering on the ground. But I mean, there's over 3,000 different species of snakes, and there are specific things that make a snake, and legs aren't it, believe it or not, because there's several different species of lizard, especially here in South Florida, that don't have legs. So
Legless lizards, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's the eastern glass lizard, and then there's another species that you can find in Europe, which is the European glass lizard. Absolutely amazing animals, but they're lizards, and lizards and snakes are pretty closely related, a big group that we file them in taxonomically.
Wait, was it the boa constrictor still has sort of remnants of legs?
Yeah, a lot of the boid species you can see like these little vestigial claws, and we might be able to see that when we have a little bit of time with one of our snakes a little bit.
So
it's kind of important.
People
for the
want to know
Valentine's
how
Day
you
thing.
got into snakes.
Running around the yard and checking them out. Thought it was cool. I mean, National Geographic.
You didn't start yesterday, though.
No. I kind of started when I was probably in diapers.
So I remember used to having hog-nosed snakes. I think I got it right. So let's talk about some of those and why is that so different?
You want to see one?
Yes.
All right, let's get one out.
All right. And this is Denise. She wants to see it too.
Denise,
She's a snake lover right over here.
That's
Denise
excellent.
is a designer with community newspapers, and she's on her second tour of duty about a long time.
So
Bringing the snakes to the show during Valentine's has nothing to do with that. But
are you sure?
our producer Tommy mentioned this week was Serpent Day on Monday,
Yeah,
and that's
National
why we're
Serpent
here.
Day.
National Serpent Day, and that's why we've got snakes in the studio.
Are you sure though, Fanny?
What happened?
I mean, if why did two boas get married?
Why?
Because they've got a crush on each other.
All right, let's talk about this hog-nosed snake, folks.
So why is this called a hog-nosed snake?
So yeah, hognose snakes are pretty neat. listen, we don't have favorites, but if I had to pick a favorite snake in our collection, it would be this little girl. Her name is Lucille. And if you take a look at that little nose of hers, let's see if I can get her up to the camera. It's kind of a little pointy, kind of reminds me of my nose, a little kind of stubby. Right. And they use that to dig around and burrow.
Do they have a little ring on their nose?
Do they have a what?
Ring.
No, they don't. Okay. I do though.
All right. So, so this from the side you can really see the difference.
Yeah, let's see if we can get it over.
So, and this color, this coordination of the design of this particular snake looks awfully familiar.
Yeah, it sure does, right? Looks like I shouldn't be holding it like this. A snake like this is kind of interesting because she's got a lot of mimicry that goes on, and mimicry is just a way an animal can act like another animal. You look like one. She looks like a rattlesnake, doesn't she? At first glance, I mean, you'd say this snake, and she kind of has like a little bit of a confused personality as well. She doesn't know if she wants to be a rattlesnake or she doesn't know if she wants to be a cobra. You see, these guys are great.
In particular, this species.
This species, yeah, is a great actress.
Can Denise hold the snake?
Yeah, Denise, you need to give me a hand.
All right, ladies, you see it here first. Denise Sabrera, Community Newspapers, holding a hog nose snake at ease, too. At ease.
So, yeah, these guys are awesome and absolutely great, actors. When they're threatened, you can see she's very calm right now. There's nothing going on. She's just, cool as a cucumber here. But when this snake is threatened, it'll actually do a couple interesting things. Why don't you come over as close for me? We can see it. So, this snake will actually use its tail, and it'll start to shake it against leaf litter or anything like that, making it appear like it might be a rattlesnake. It'll hiss. And you know what? If that doesn't work, the snake will actually hood up like a cobra, lifting its head up, expanding its neck. And that will give it the appearance of being larger. Yet again, another interesting mechanism, even though it's not a cobra, not even closely related to a cobra or a rattlesnake. It's not in the Viperidae family at all. And if all else fails, snake is going to do something pretty interesting. If you don't mind, I'm going to grab her. You see how she's kind of really dark and have these blotchy colors underneath her? She's just going to lay upside down. She's going to must or defecate and pretend to be dead. And the animal's probably going to look at her and say, you know what? It's probably been dead here for a little bit. I don't know what happened. I must have been dreaming when I just saw that snake moving around a little bit earlier, and I'm not going to mess with it.
So the snakes that you brought are pretty docile.
Yeah, these guys are used to being handled, and it's really their choice to kind of come out and hang out with us. But yeah, they're very docile.
And what does a hognose snake typically eat in the wild?
These guys are actually interesting because they eat amphibians. They are a rear-fanged snake, so they do have a very mild amount of venom. Doesn't affect humans at all, really. And those bites are actually done through those rear fangs. So it's amazing to see that these guys will do that to eat things like amphibians and toads. They're found all the way from southern parts of Canada into the northern parts of Mexico. I guess it makes the snake Hispanic, maybe? No?
So, Mike, have you ever held a snake? Job. I mean, I was told you're an expert.
Well, I'm not an expert, but
that's why you're our host today for our animal encounters.
My brother and I used to play with snakes all the time. We used to collect them.
Excuse me. I have to step in here for a second. Michael, when he was in high school, he had a bunch of snakes, and he let them all go in the neighborhood. How many, Michael?
Oh, boy.
25 water snakes that I got out in the Everglades. I let them loose.
All right, that's going to be another topic.
Okay. That's a topic for another day.
That was irresponsible.
A responsible pet owner.
Yes.
That was in the 60s.
Okay. Now, listen, that's job security right there. People like ecologists like myself are busy.
So, Mike, I do want to mention Miami EcoAdventures at Bill Sadowski Nature Center. You can meet Willie and Eric Rivera and Jeremy White and all of our other naturalists, and you, too, could have an animal encounter. Always available on a weekend. Learn more about snakes and the other critters and the animal ambassadors. So come check us out.
Okay, so here's something that's interesting. How a lot of people get frightened of snakes.
They have a bad reputation.
All right. Even though that most of them really never had a close encounter. Probably 99%. What is it that instinctively causes some people to be so frightened?
So it was actually a study that was done, believe it or not, and I was learning about this when we were opening up Amazon and Beyond at the zoo and in tropical Americas, and we got to teach a little bit about like these cultural connections. And people who are innately afraid of snakes, they have no risk of getting bit by a venomous snake. So a venomous snake could kill you, although, when we look at it, I mean, out of the 3,000 different species of snake, I'd say only about 600 or so are venomous enough that could cause a potential problem to a human. So we don't know exactly why people are innately afraid of snakes. Some people are, some people aren't. I don't think I ever was.
He's finding home.
Yeah, making himself very comfortable, huh?
Some people are afraid of cockroaches.
Scream.
That's
me.
Even though
100%.
you have no problem handling snakes.
Oh, I could be in a room with a king cobra. I have been there, done that many times. But you put me in a room with a cockroach, I would run out of this studio right now. There's no question about it.
Mike, but I also think that snakes have a bad reputation just because people, number one, don't know about them, their importance, right, in the ecosystem and how they actually protect humans, making sure they eat those pesky rodents that carry diseases. But I think just their body structure, having no legs, they slither around. It just brings that fear factor and the myths about snakes.
So I've been them that reputation. With the exception of the last 10 years, or maybe 20, I was around snakes my whole life, starting at getting friendly with the guys over at the Miami Serpentarium when they were there. I was when I was in elementary, junior high school, I'd go there every day. But let's talk about the king snake, Florida king snake. All right. And then Denise is still over here with the other guy. You're not going to let that guy get hungry on this one, are you?
No, hopefully not, because that would be a bad situation. So this is a Florida king snake, and this is one of our favorite snakes just because they are so beautiful. And they used to think that this was a different subspecies of the Florida king snake, of the king snake, the Brooks king snake. However, it's just a color morph. And South Florida, I mean, what are we sitting on top of? When we dig in the ground, there's a little bit of dirt, but right underneath it, we've got all that oolitic limestone. And this guy blend in pretty well with that oolitic limestone, wouldn't it? So we've seen that this is just a color variation of the Florida king snake, but these guys are so neat because they're a snake that you can find here. These guys, they get to be anywhere from about, I'd say maybe 36 to 48 inches long. You know why we measure them in inches?
No
idea.
Snakes don't have feet.
Because they don't have feet.
I know.
Wow, we're full of great jokes.
Definitely keep my day job, huh? So these guys are really neat. And, king snakes, several snakes have the name king in it. Let's think of another one.
Yes, the big
King
one.
Cobra, yeah. King Cobras are one of my favorite snakes. They're absolutely amazing. Their Latin name, Ophiophagus. Hannah actually means snake eater, and Hannah was the guy that named it. I'm waiting for that to happen one day.
So,
all right. So
this guy here, this particular species of king can grow up to 4 feet.
Yep.
And thank you. And then how much bigger is it going to be?
These guys won't get huge like a boa constrictor or anything that wide like that, but they will grow probably about proportionate to what they are right now.
And what do these guys eat in the wild?
Well, they get the name king snake because they eat other snakes. They've been known to eat venomous snakes and have no ill effects from that venom, which is really kind of cool. These guys are colubrids, and that's just a group of snakes. And they are just amazing in the way that they will eat their prey, grab onto it. These guys do constrict, which is unique as opposed to being slightly venomous like that guy or a full-on.
So when you say constrict, I can hear some people freaking out.
They should be.
But they should be. Is there somebody back here? But as far as this particular snake, 4 feet, they could constrict. It's not gonna hurt a human.
Yeah, no, most definitely not. Although you never want to pick up a wild snake if you see it out in the wild. I mean, you see a beautiful snake like this, respect it, leave it there. They're doing their job. A rat can have 21 babies every 21 days. That's a lot of rats and mice. And face it, they're everywhere. We live in South Florida. Coconut trees, palm trees everywhere. There's always a constant food supply for them. So if we see a snake like this in the wild, just appreciate it from a distance, leave it alone. You have no chance of getting bitten by it if you just leave it alone. And snakes are cold-blooded animals. They're ectothermic. They don't produce their own energy. So these guys really don't want to mess with us. If they don't have to spend that energy, they don't want to waste it. If it's not something they can eat or a reason that they would need to survive or reproduce, they're not going to do it.
Will we find that snake?
Yes, you could find this snake. It is very rare.
And this guy back here?
Hopefully not. But they are involved. Those guys are in the pet trade. So you can, people having these snakes. And we always like to bring it up with snakes. If you have a snake as a pet, which we never suggest having exotic animals as pets, sticking to dogs and cats, there's so many of them that need homes in our shelters. If you are going to have a pet snake, or you have a pet snake that you really can no longer take care of, please don't let it go out in the wild. Because letting it go is causing a huge imbalance in our ecosystem. We have huge issues with some invasive snakes, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there's amnesty days that you could.
I was just going to bring that up. Zoo Miami has great partners. You know, I know that we get curious, just as many people fear snakes, a lot of people find them fascinating and make them pets. But sometimes they realize that it wasn't a good pet option. But Zoo Miami does work with partners during Amnesty Day, where you can turn in, no questions asked, these exotic animals that will find home,
including the snakes that are too big for them,
too big,
or too wild.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I want to mention just the way that Willie is handling as a naturalist and an animal handler. You notice that really the snake is taking full control of its movement. You're not holding it, you're not constricting it. And the other thing, Mike, I see this a lot, especially on social media, people holding constrictors around their necks. I mean, I'm just constrictor, aorta, constriction. That is just a bad combination.
Okay. I expected to get yelled at in a second.
What other kind of snakes are we going to find out?
Yeah, Fanny, you want to hang on to this little one?
I'll take the king snake.
There we go. All right, so this is our big girl.
Okay, hold on.
Those guys actually do rattle, believe it or not, as a form of defense.
All right, Tommy, you ready for this one? Not really. All right. Denise, you ready?
Yep.
All right, big girl.
Oh, wow.
Hey, baby.
That is cool.
There we go. So this is our red-tailed boa, and we're really happy to have her at the park, because these guys have such a great story. They're such amazing animals. And what's really kind of neat about these snakes is that, you know, they are just so adaptable. And unfortunately, we've had a population of these snakes adapt right here in South Florida. They're genetically unique over at the Deering Estate. And they've been studied. People have wanted to know a little bit more about that population there. And they've been tagged in with radio transmitters. And now, folks, you know, we're talking about this. It's not, we don't want anybody going around and searching for these snakes or anything like that. But, you know, this species of snake is very adaptable. It's found throughout South America in different places. And I've even seen these guys in the Caribbean while I've been there wild, and they've been introduced. But, you know, an absolutely amazing predator. To think you don't have legs, you don't have arms, and you're going to have to go out and hunt your food and then swallow it whole. It's pretty impressive. Snakes are just absolutely amazing creatures.
And where are they from?
These guys, South America. But we have seen snakes like this, like, you know, boa constrictors right here in South Florida.
And there's David Singer.
I love snakes.
So how old is this guy?
I'm not sure exactly how old Shakira is. She's probably about 4 or 5 years old.
And
you heard right, Mike. Shakira.
Yeah, she's the Colombian red-tailed boa.
Now, and how old is this hog, more or less?
Probably around 2 or 3 years old.
And how long big is this guy?
Well, this snake is about 5.5 feet long. I think she's about maybe 20 pounds or so, 25 pounds. And the largest of the boids is the green anaconda. They're in the same family as this boa constrictor. And the longest snake in the world is the reticulated python. But this is one of the largest. I mean, they get to be really, really big snakes. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can kind of see, that she's kind of holding on to my arm with her tail. And that's because these guys, here, why don't you stick your head right there? Make yourself cute. These guys use that tail to anchor themselves when they're out and about in the forest. And that's really neat because they are semi-arboreal, especially when they get to this size. And the bigger they get, the smaller branches really can't hold them, so they tend to stick on the forest floor.
So lots of people, when they handle whether it's birds or snakes, forget that if you're supporting them and you get scared and you try to drop them, all right, they're going to hang on.
I got to hold on with something, right?
Right. And I can't tell you how many times I've been bitten or clawed because, right, because in the beginning, 30 years ago, and then they would go to fall and they would do something. So this guy right here, when do people have pets this size?
Yeah, and you know, again, we don't ever think that that's a good idea. when we handle this snake, we have a 2-person rule, ensuring that it is safe for us and them. Animals are animals and they can be unpredictable. This is a wild animal. I have a great relationship with her, as does Fanny. But being by myself with a large snake like this is not a good idea.
Do the snakes know you?
I'd like to think she does. She, hangs out with me on a very regular basis, and I'd seem to think so.
Well, we see ducks and chickens and other type of pets. Cows come over to you when you call. So, is there any reason to believe that they don't have that similar capacity?
Yeah, not in my opinion. I don't know scientifically if we've studied this or not with snakes, but I can definitely see some of these guys getting excited. That snake in particular loves some of the staff at the park. When she sees Eric, she kind of sticks her head up and someone's coming around. Maybe she thinks she's going to get fed, or maybe she really loves Eric. I don't know. I haven't asked her yet.
There's another part when you're comfortable with an animal and you can support them and you're not freaked out and you're not running away, or that they go, this is something new. It must not be the person. So the way you're handling that's the way that you do that. And that critter knows that. Yeah.
And this is really up to them. We are a big proponent of choice. And, if they don't want to come around and they don't want to come out of their enclosure, that's fine. They have really nice habitats, there are plants and all kinds of stuff in them. That little the little Fuller king snake looks like it lives in a pine rockland.
Okay. So what does this guy eat?
This guy, snakes, constrictors, like this, and snakes is on a general rule of thumb, you can say that they'll eat something that's 2 to 3 times the size of their head, nothing double the thickness of their body. And that's because they can't swallow it. They have to swallow those things whole. You can see like African rock pythons, things like that will eat something like a gazelle. And that's okay because anatomically that animal folds up really nicely. And you can just see 2 horns sometimes if it's a big male gazelle that they've eaten sticking up, but they can swallow that whole. And after they've constricted it, and obviously constriction is really neat, they bite down on their prey, they wrap their body around it, and they start to squeeze to the point that they take their breath away, and the animal suffocate.
And how often does this guy eat?
That really depends on the environment and the temperature, the size of the meal. So many of those things are factored in when we're calculating diets for all of our animals. We monitor their weights on a pretty regular basis. About twice a month they get weighed.
Really?
Yep, to make sure that they're growing at a steady rate and that everything is good with them. So she has been eating around every 2 weeks or so. Right now it's a little cooler outside, and she's had a meal that was a little bit larger than normal.
And what about this hog nose? How often?
That hog nose, if she could eat every day, she would. I think that's why I get along so well with her. She's got a great appetite, and it's really cute.
You heard it here, Tommy.
she opens her mouth and she just waits for you to put the food in. So it's really kind of a neat snake, and she'll just literally come up, open her mouth. We could put her mouse in. She'll eat it. And all these mice, they come frozen from a supplier, and we just thaw them out, bring them up to temperature. Fanny doesn't pay me enough to have to take care of dinner too, so I take care of the animals that we have, but it's more humane that way.
It does take a special type of person to be around exotic animals, right? And so my hat's off to you for.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been my entire life pretty much, and they're amazing. And Fanny and I have gotten a chance to work with some exotic animals together from our days back at the zoo, working with cheetahs and hawks and all kinds of interesting stuff. So it's always nice to be able to share that with folks. And there are so many people out there that want to be involved with things like this.
I'll bet you could probably get Denise over here to volunteer. A little bit.
That's exactly where I was going.
Look how comfortable she is.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. And there is lots of volunteer opportunities within the Parks Department, within our department, EcoAdventures, to get more in touch with nature. The zoo's teen conservation program, which is absolutely an amazing program, teaches kids so many things. The training they go through is brilliant. So there's so many opportunities in our Parks Department to do this that, you don't have to have a pet snake to be able to do that. And I really think that's how I got into the field, because, I really wasn't allowed to have exotic animals like this as a pet. I wasn't even allowed to have a dog.
So,
Thanks, Mom.
Will you guys in the future, we won't say that word, but in the future, go out to facilities, or is it all in-house? No,
we do outreach programs on a pretty regular basis. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different and they're socially distant, but we do outreach programs.
We do outreaches, of course, following COVID. social distancing. We also do virtual programs as well.
I think it's so vitally important that the people, and particularly young people, are not like terrified. They may not want to pet it, just like they may not want to pet whatever it is, but to be able to be up front and close. And by the way, this class we have each place is really pretty neat, because here you're really close to this animal, all right, and it's very neat.
Right. You get a sneak peek, but you don't have to get too close.
Yes.
You're inching into if you do have a fear of snake. And that's why Miami EcoAdventures with Miami-Dade Parks connects you to natures and the wonders of the wild at all of our parks with Miami-Dade County. So Mike, there's great opportunities happening during this month of February.
And why is that?
Because for the love of parks, come out and fall in love with your parks. Meet great park professionals, meet the critters that are animal ambassadors, but most importantly, spend time safely outdoors during these times. I do want to mention today we have snakes, but this Friday night, so tomorrow, at Costello Hammocks and Preserve Park, we are offering a campfire owl walk. So I invite all of you, if you're looking for something to do this Friday night, come join us. And then this weekend, Crandon Bike Adventure, intro to archery, both at 80 Barnes and Costello. Hattie Bauer hike. If this is a wonderful,
cool.
It used to be the old orchid jungle. Mike, do you remember that?
No.
Well, our EcoAdventure is now doing hikes at that park facility and really looking at the history of Hattie Bauer. And then, of course, our museum and trails are open at Arch Creek up in North Miami. So we've got something for everyone. And our animal encounters, right, Mike? Because you grew up around snakes. You could tell you're not fearful at all.
I got to tell you, I'm really at home. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
No,
and
we're happy
Denise
to
is
have
over
you.
here. Look how comfortable she is.
Yep.
So
That hog nose is just happy as can be.
all right. So do we have another? We're going to go off in just a second. All right. Do we have another snake for her to pet? To have?
We can, after we're done, yeah, we can switch out so she can see that
Okay.
snake.
So we're
but-
going to see you real soon. When are you coming back?
We will be back on Monday.
Monday.
So Monday back with Miami-Dade Parks and EcoAdventures. And for the love of parks, just to close it out, spend some more time safely outdoors in a park near you.
Great. Thanks, guys.